Welcome into the Lucas and Lucas podcast. Mike Lucas alongside Lucas Frankel. As always, we're going to skip the foreplay today because Frankel is hot and bothered by the lack of Yankees offense for the majority of the last 2 days. But lo and behold, Frank, just when you thought it was over, just when you tweeted, will the Yankees get a hit today? They came through in the clutch late. Aaron Judge with the walk-off homer to win. Frank, there's your tee. Take it off, brother.
I mean,
Hopefully better than the Yankees did the last 2 days.
What a past 2 days of Yankee baseball. I mean, they looked so dead on Saturday. Just no life. There was just nothing there, no energy. And it was one of the most lifeless. It wasn't even exciting for the Astros. It was just like, oh, they used 3 pitchers, got a no-hitter. Like, that wasn't even fun. And then today, through 6 and then third innings, I believe, it was the same exact thing. Just poor at-bats going up there. They drew a couple walks from time to time, but, routine ground balls to second, pop-ups to shallow infield. And then all of a sudden, Stan hits a homer, LeMahieu hits a homer, and then Judge, my God. The season that this guy's, this is like A-Rod 07. This is up there with one of the most dominant Yankee seasons I could ever remember. And I actually said I was at work. We were recording this at 6:30 Eastern. It was about a little over an hour ago that Judge hit the walk-off. And I said to my coworker, if I'm the Astros, I walk him. Why would you pitch to Aaron Judge in this situation? It was first and third, 2 outs, a base open. And I wouldn't have pitched to him. But, man, what a win for the Yankees. I don't want to get ahead of myself, Mike, but, man, this season has just – it feels like it's trending like 2009. There's so many walk-offs, so many big hits, so many big moments. And, they just finished a 13-game stretch against the Blue Jays, the Rays, and the Astros, and they went 9-4. 9-4 against, Blue Jays, who many people thought were, and the Astros, even though they split the series, 2 of the teams, that's supposed to be neck and neck with the Yankees. And granted, the Yankees got saved by 2 improbable late rallies on Thursday and Sunday. Otherwise, they would have gotten swept. But to come out there with a split and the way they did, and to go 9-4 against, 3 of the true powers in the American League. What a testament to this team. Aaron Judge, listen, everyone always says after he gets a hit, pay the man, pay the man, pay the man. And listen, I get it. And I know he just had a whole arbitration hearing, but I'm not rushing to pay Aaron Judge. This is great. It's June. Do it in October, and then we can talk about the contract. Listen, like I said, what he's doing is amazing. I'm so sick of the contract. There was a clip on ESPN.com. It was leading the page, leading the site. Buster only, Aaron Judge will not be a Yankee next season. And that pissed me off. How do you know? You have no idea. So I'm not getting hung up at Aaron Judge's contract right now. If you're hung up at Aaron Judge's contract, get a life. Let's just enjoy this Yankee season. Let's see where we're at the end of October. We'll see how Judge does in October, and then we can talk about his contract. But right here, right now, what a time for the Yankees. Mike, it was such a moment. I was when I hit the homer, I said, pay the man, but I just hit that in the moment because in the grand scheme of things, I know that there's a lot of baseball left to play, but what a season so far. That's my spiel.
I'll say this about Judge. He's going to get paid one way or the other. It's just a matter if he gets paid 7 generations wealth or 8 generations wealth. The man's going to get 300 plus, whether it's the Yankees or some other team. And the best thing he can do is keep playing like this. If he keeps this up through October, the Yankees go on a deep playoff and hopefully win the World Series. He's just even writing a bigger and bigger check for himself. So the contract talk doesn't seem to be affecting his play at all. If anything, it's motivating him to have the best season of his career. And, you could say that's dangerous because the Yankees would be paying for this season of production, and that may not be what he's giving forward. But we know this is what he's capable of. He is, when he's right, one of the best 2-3 players in baseball. The guy's unbelievable. He's dialed in. He hits for contact, power. He gets on base. He's he's not a subpar defender. And everyone seems to love the guy. So Judge is going to get paid. Don't worry about it now, Yankee fans. If any team's going to pay them, it's going to be the Yankees. Let's not pretend we're the Tampa Bay Rays or the Cleveland Guardians who can't afford to pay a guy $30 million a year. The Yankees are already paying 2 guys that. What's a third? They print money. So don't worry about that. Baseball is, in general, we talk about this every week, Frank. It's a roller coaster ride. And I being in Cleveland now and following the Guardians, they just came off this heroic road stretch where they overtook Minnesota for first place in the AL Central. They played a bunch of terrible teams, and they go, I think it was 13-4 against these terrible teams. They come play the Red Sox this weekend, get swept, and in the matter of one weekend, it went from, holy crap, the Guardians are the best story in baseball to, yeah, we actually stink, and it was an illusion. So it's impossible to read too much into any stretch of baseball at this point of the season good or bad. So if the Yankees got no hit in back-to-back games, I wouldn't tell you, yeah, the Yankees offense is broken. They suck. Trade the team, sell everybody. And the fact they came back today doesn't mean they're going to win the World Series, but it's a damn good sign that this team is resilient. They find ways to grind. And even after, 16 and a third innings of getting no hit, they found
it was a long time. I believe it was 52 straight hitters retired.
Yeah, they found a way. They found a way to come score 6 runs in the final 4 innings of the game and battle back, fight back against the good Astros team, and pull out a win in a series that, frankly, they had no business splitting. Like you mentioned it earlier, it took them 2 ridiculous comebacks to draw a split in the series. If anything, Houston should be mortified at themselves for not taking this 3-1. If this comes back in a tiebreak, and you look at the overall record between the 2 teams, that's a game that Houston should have won. So is Thursday night. So I think it's encouraging for the Yankees, but I've learned in the last month and a half here, more than ever else in my life, that nothing matters in June in baseball. And it's all just for fun and shits and giggles, that nothing matters. So pump the brakes on any hardcore reactions and let's just enjoy what has been a ridiculously fun 2.5 months of Yankee baseball. Frank, I'm going to ask you a question here. When's the last time you've had this much fun watching the Yankees on a night-to-night basis?
It's got to be 2009. Or 2019 was a lot of fun. The playoff run of 2017 was pretty amazing. But the most fun, like this feeling, like going out there, going out there every single game and basically knowing that we have we got this. Like basically every single game was 2009. That's the only comparison I could think of. Just so many clutch moments, so many amazing plays, and a couple other points I wanted to hit on. So
wait, was it before you hit these points? Can I say one thing about the funness of this team? It's amazing that they're this fun because there are a couple players I cannot stand on this team.
Right.
Like Aaron Hicks drives me crazy.
Hang on. Aaron Hicks.
He's played better. He just, I don't like watching.
He won the Yankees 2 games this week. Single-handedly won him 2 games.
No. It is. I just don't enjoy watching him. Like as a totality of a team, they are so much fun to watch. I don't like Aaron Hicks. Joey Gallo.
Yeah, I know.
Drives me. We've talked about this before. So it's amazing how much fun this team is despite having, and there's a couple others and I can name them all later, but it's amazing to me how much fun this team's to watch when they have those guys who you don't particularly like, because the other guy, I don't even love Stanton. I think he's fun to watch play, but he strikes out. I'm not a huge Stanton fan. So the guys like Judge, the guys, I love Glaber, like some of the guys on the team I love so much that I'm now, okay, I'm gonna give you a food analogy real quick. You put a little too much red chili flakes in a dish, it gets too hot, and you're like, oh, it's too spicy. So you got to add even more honey and salt to make it even out. Judge and those guys are the excess honey and salt to even out the spiciness that I don't like from Gallo, Hicks, and Stanton. It's the perfect combination. It's like paella, Frank. The Yankees, they're just coming together in the perfect way. It's fun.
So during my show, I was producing today at CBS Sports HQ, and after the first out of the 7th inning, I was like, all right, I'm going all in on this Yankees back. I'm not going, not wanting it to happen. I was basically going all in on this happening and getting prepared. So I started, creating the rows in my rundown for it to say breaking news: Yankees no hit for 2nd straight game. And as soon as I started doing that, Stanton homered. So that killed that. And a couple other notes that just happened. Gleyber Torres has a mild ankle sprain. Boone says he does not expect it to be serious. So I don't know if you didn't watch the game, but what happened was in the bottom of the 9th inning, Yankees had a runner on 3rd. And 1 out for Aaron Hicks, our boy Aaron Hicks, who ended up striking out. But after Hicks struck out, as Gleyber Torres was trying to run back to 3rd base, his ankle turned, and in a moment I was like, oh my god, he couldn't make it back to the base. So it was 1 out. Hicks struck out. They threw to 3rd because Gleyber just couldn't get up, and they tagged him out at the end of the inning. So the Yankees could have won this game in the 9th inning if they had to wait till the 10th for Aaron Judge. But I said in the moment, man, if you're Gleyber Torres and you cannot make it back to the base in that situation, that's got to be a season-ending injury. And just finding out now that that's a mild ankle sprain and Boone doesn't expect it to be serious, now I'm seriously questioning the toughness of Gleyber Torres. How do you not get back to the base in that moment? You got an army crawl. You headed on my done.
No. Frank,
I am not done.
As a non-athlete like yourself, let me tell you something. A sprained ankle hurts the most in the instant you hurt it, and then as it swells and puffs up, it actually hurts less in the aftermath. So that the instant you I didn't see the play. I didn't see the play. So I'm just talking as a pure athlete like myself. Emerson College, D3 athlete, great branding. When you sprain your ankle, that first moment feels like you got shot, and then because your body's in shock, and then the pain kind of eases out and it swells up, and then just it's annoying.
But that's not true though, because
it is.
Hang on. listen to me.
The highest level of athletics you played was rec league, Livingston.
Hang on, stop.
Pickup basketball in 8th grade.
So you see it all the time with NBA players. They'll sprain their ankle, they'll finish the game, they'll miss like a week. So that just proves all your logic. Because,
no.
Because the adrenaline pushes through the pain, Mike.
They fall on the ground and they wither in pain. And eventually you could get up when you tie your shoes tight to get an ankle brace. Yeah, you could suit it up and play. But that's not what happened there.
So when you sprain an ankle, as the ankle expert that I am, the adrenaline pushes you through, and then you can continue playing. But then the next day and the day after,
Frank, I'm gonna go watch this play. Keep talking here. I'm actually.
You just search Labor Torres on Twitter, and you should find it. But man, obviously there's always gonna be little things with the Yankees that annoy me. We talked about Joey Gallo's absolute atrocity of a player. Didn't get to play in this game. Now we're seeing reports that Isaiah Kiner-Falefa on his sack bunt attempt in the bottom of the 10th inning. They have hurt his finger, so now the Yankees are going to need a new shortstop and a new second baseman. So I think what they'll do is they'll put DJ LeMahieu at second base, and he'll play there every day. And as for short, unfortunately, it's probably going to be Marwin Gonzalez, who's been hitting a little better late as of now, but we'll see what happens there. And then obviously we'll see how long Labor Torres is out. But coming up next for the Yankees, the Oakland A's. So schedule is going to lighten up here, and then we got a bunch of games coming up with the Red Sox. Major test. The Red Sox have been one of the right there neck and neck with the Yankees with the teams with best records of baseball after like the first month of the season. So Boston, they're not going down without a fight. So it's gonna be a war. But that will conclude our New York Yankees conversation as Mike continues to.
I found the video. Can you hear the ad playing?
Yes.
All right, then I'll watch it later. Sorry. Let's get back on track here, Frank. We got.
All right, let's shift ahead to the Brooklyn Nets. I wanted to do the podcast earlier in the week, or I believe last Monday. I wanted to do it because that's when the Kyrie news first came out about.
I've been swamped. I apologize. It's on me.
No, it's okay. Everyone's got things going. I understand. There was about the Shams report came out about Kyrie potentially, not, coming back to the Nets, and then, giving a list of teams that he would want to go to. Mike, let's start from the pure fan perspective. As a fan of the Brooklyn Nets, do you want Kyrie Irving on the team next season? Yes or
no? No.
Why not?
No. Because I think he's more of a headache than he contributes to the court. I don't think he loves basketball anymore.
All right, pause.
Wait, hold on. You can't ask me a question. I say 3 words and then cut me off. Listen, you gotta let me go first. I think.
Sure. That was my mistake.
I think the reality is I want him back because that means KD comes back, and if getting rid of him, we lose KD, then we take him back because KD's more important than Kyrie. But from a purely fan perspective, the question is, do I want Kyrie Irving back on the team next year? The answer is no. If the question is, do I want KD back on the team, and that means keeping Kyrie? The answer is yes. I think they're 2 separate questions. If we can keep KD without Kyrie, hell yeah, sign me up. I'll take a rock and I'll take the same package we traded for Kyle Korver back in 2004. A fax machine and a 2nd-round pick that never meticulized to anything. I'll take a fax machine for Kyrie Irving. He's a cancer, a toxic, and he is the last player in the NBA I'd want on my team right now.
So you said, I'll never forget this day, June 30th.
I know what I tweeted.
We had a phone conversation, June 30th, 2019, when the Nets, I believe that was the date, when they signed Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. You said this is the greatest day in, I don't know, of my life, but I think you said Nets history. I don't know about of my life.
And I stand by that. It still was.
You still stand by that?
Until we win a championship, yeah, that's the best day in Nets franchise history. Now listen, will it be forever? No. When the Nets win a championship, it'll be surpassed. But that was the move that got us as close as we have been since Jason Kidd, Richard Jefferson, and Vince Carter to a championship. And we saw last year, or I guess 2 seasons ago now, we were this close. Frank, the Nets would have won the NBA Finals if a fluke injury to James Harden doesn't happen. And
that's not a fluke. Hang on, no, that's not a fluke injury. That's a James Harden being out of shape, not tearing injury.
Okay, however you want to word it, we are 2 injuries away from the Nets cruising easily to an NBA Finals championship. They almost
cruising
beat the Bucks.
Easily.
They
all right,
almost beat the Bucks, who beat the Suns with one of their big 3.
Yeah, but that should have whatever. Whatever. Continue.
Yeah, listen, I don't want to get all hot and bothered about 2 finals ago that we should have won. I've been in pain enough about that already. My point is, yes, that move brought us closer to where we needed to go than any other move in Nets franchise history. And yes, it was the best day because for the first time since 2004, we were catapulted into the legitimate contender conversation, which we hadn't been since. And that's the conversation that every team strives to be in, every fan wants to be in, and only 3 to 5, maybe 6 teams each year get to legitimately be a part of. for once, we were part of that conversation. And as a fan, that's all we can ask for. I can't impact wins and losses. I'm not a coach. I'm not on the team. I'm not in the front office. I can't impact scouting. I can't impact who we draft. I can't impact who we sign. But on June 30th, whatever year that was, we catapulted ourselves into the conversation that I desperately want to be in and I desperately want to stay in. And that's why I'm willing to put up with Kyrie and his shenanigans if it means keeping KD, because having Kevin Durant at this stage of his career keeps you in that conversation by himself. And that was very well eloquently said.
All right. So I think that all Nets fans, when we signed Kyrie, there was no way that he was going to be as cancerous as he was with the Celtics as he was going to be with that thought never even crossed. I thought he had turned a corner or something. I didn't realize that. And I'm almost mad at myself for falling for his, because he's got this spell that he puts on people to make you believe that, think everything's going to be good. And then when you with him, it's miserable. I completely overestimated how miserable of an experience it is having Kyrie Irving on team. And I'm mad at myself for it because I should have seen this coming. And I can't believe I missed it.
Well, the spell of Kyrie Irving is that when he does play basketball, he is a legitimate wizard. There are 3 or 4 players in the history of the league, or maybe a little more than 3 or 4, but 3 or 4 players currently, maybe a dozen total in NBA history, that when they're on the court, things they do with the basketball cannot be replicated and cannot be done by anyone else around.
All right, so yeah, Kyrie's got great handles. Who cares?
But the way he effortlessly scores, the way he could all of a sudden, after being invisible for 8 minutes of game time, you look up and he scored on 6 or 7 possessions. He has 14 points in the first quarter. The dude's was, and that's why Kevin Durant pitched his wagon with him.
What? But that it's KD's got. I mean, listen, if I'm Kevin Durant, I'd be so mad at myself for signing that extension when I did, because why would you want to be part of this team right now? There's no reason why Kevin Durant should want to be anywhere near this franchise because of how much of a, I guess, debacle is the only thing that really comes to mind right now based on, what he thought he was signing up for, what it turned out being with, you thought you were going to have this great culture of supporting role players like LeVert, Dinwiddie, Jared Allen, Joe Harris, all these guys that were going to play gritty players who, earn their keep in the NBA that you were going to be join them with. And then you obviously, you thought you were going to be with James Harden, but James Harden was obviously, we know what happened there. Now Kyrie Irving's happening with everything just completely falling apart. And then taboo, the Warriors win a championship without you. And it's just everything that could possibly gone wrong here for Durant has gone wrong. I know obviously personally for himself, he's going to be a billionaire. It's not going to matter in terms of his life and whatnot, but in terms of basketball and his reputation in the NBA, I can't believe that he fell for the potion too. How did Kyrie Irving win over Kevin Durant? What did he do? Did he hypnotize him? I don't understand how someone with the stature of Kevin Durant, I know that Kyrie has handles and he can score baskets, but man, how could you do that to yourself? Why would you attach yourself to Kyrie Irving? You could have chosen any player in the NBA and you chose Kyrie Irving. Why? Why would you do that? And don't tell me because of his stupid handles. It makes no sense.
Kevin Durant, I just thought as you were talking, Frank. So this may not be perfect. I'm still have to workshop this analogy. But Kevin Durant's a sophomore year of college girl. And with the Thunder, she was dating a good guy throughout high school, was super nice, and realized hey, I'm in college. There's so many better things out there than my high school sweetheart. I'm gonna go find something better. And she meets another nice guy in college who's 6'2" and a little more in shape, and that was the Warriors, and everything was perfect. And it was the perfect scenario. Fell in love, and it was beautiful. And then she wanted a bad boy. Every girl goes to that stage. They meet the nice guy, but they want a bad boy, Frank. And the bad boy in this situation is Kyrie Irving. And she sees a bad boy. He rides a motorcycle and wears a leather jacket and has a criminal record. And that excites me. There's no stability, but imagine if I can tame this wild stallion. It'll be the greatest accomplishment of my life. So she leaves the great guy with, future job security and everything, the second good guy for Kyrie Irving. And then you realize maybe you made a mistake. Maybe you messed this one up. Maybe it would have been smarter to stick with the guy who treated you right. who even if it wasn't perfect because you wanted more control than him and it was always going to be Steph Curry's team and he was always have a little more control, it was a better situation than whatever you had with the bad boy. So it still works. I literally thought of that as you were talking, but there's something there on that, Frank. And I think that's what Kevin Durant is. He's always looking for that next challenge, that next step. And it's human nature to want to differentiate what you're accustomed to. And, Kevin Durant wanted his own team. He wanted to find a guy he could recruit with him to win a championship. And, he thought he could change Kyrie Irving. And sometimes, as guys and girls know, you can't change your significant other. Sometimes they are who they are for better or worse. And I think Kevin Durant has learned or will learn. Kyrie Irving is Kyrie Irving. And that is not going to change for any man, woman, or basketball team.
So here's where I stand in the situation. If Kevin Durant says you have to bring Kyrie Irving back, the Nets have to bring Kyrie Irving back. You can do whatever he wants. That's sort of where I stand in the situation. Because Kevin Durant is a once in a generation player, and if you have the opportunity to have Kevin Durant on the team, you have to take chances every single time. I'm not saying that next season, if they ran out a lineup of Steph Curry, Ben Simmons, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Joe Harris, Nick Claxton, like that's like a lethal offensive team right there. So I would do it I don't know. We saw Damian Lillard post the Instagram thing about with him and Durant together. And by the way, that's tampering, and he should be fined like $30 million for that because it's totally against the rules. You can't be actively recruiting players that are on. Like, you're laughing, but it's true, and I can't believe that. Like, I can't believe
you tweeted at the NBA like 7 times.
No, I didn't. But I tweeted at Damian Lillard that it's tampering.
I know you.
But literally, like, Adam Silver, someone's got to like make a statement about this because you can't be doing that. The guy's under contract. He literally can't be doing it. Why are you laughing? It's literally against the rules.
I know. But it's like, what if he posted a picture with Durant like at the club? They went out to a club together.
That's different. You're talking about he posted a picture of them together in Blazers uniforms. He's recruiting him to come to the Blazers. First of all, Lillard should be posting a picture of himself in a Nets uniform with Damian Lillard, because the real thing that needs to happen is the Nets need to do a sign and trade for Kyrie and Damian Lillard, and get Damian Lillard to Brooklyn, Kyrie the hell out of here. And
Dame should have been in that anyway. That was the next pick.
Right. I don't. But Mike, why do you keep doing this? All right, that's a great transition because the Boston Celtics lost the NBA championship, and Mike, the Celtics championship window, it seems like it's never going to end. Jason Tatum's like still like 22 years old. He just graduated. He just left Duke a year ago, and it's amazing. The dude is like, it's amazing how long he's been in the NBA and how young he is. It feels like he's never going to be old. We'll be like retired with grandchildren, and he'll be still like scoring 50 points a game for the Celtics. But I really don't want the Celtics winning a championship. It just would have been a terrible thing for the Nets because it seemed like they, after all the years of just dreadfulness and mediocrity with the Nets organization, that they had finally turned a corner and they had surpassed the Celtics. They beat them in the playoffs last year, and it felt like things were, finally, spinning back in the right direction. And this year, it flips back the other way completely, and I don't think the Celtics can win a championship, but they come up short. It's very, very important to me the Celtics do not win a championship with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, because I don't know if I'll be able to live with myself and see that happen.
I'm with you, and I actually think this was the Celtics' best chance to win a title with this team.
Right.
I really do. I think a lot of things fell in their favor this postseason run. I mean, Chris Middleton getting hurt completely changed the entire outcome of the NBA Finals. I do believe the Bucks.
Well, the second round.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the Bucks win the championship if he doesn't get hurt. Is my point. I think they got lucky in that sense. They got lucky. The Nets were a complete debacle in the first round. Couldn't make a damn shot and got through that without ease. I think the fact that Miami was the 1 seed and they were I didn't think Miami was that good. I don't think this Boston team was particularly that good. And then they even played a Warriors team in the finals who, credit to the Warriors, they were the better team, but I don't think they were a particularly great champion. I mean, Steph Curry played great. Klay Thompson was half of himself. Jordan Poole was so hot and missed. Andrew Wiggins was, for 4 games, arguably the MVP. So you look at the Celtics team and how they move forward. I think Al Horford was so crucial to what they did. I can't imagine if he does. I will happily admit I'm wrong. I like Al Horford. There's no way he can play at this level much longer. Like, I think this may have been his last chance. I think they struck gold in a bottle with Marcus Smart. He drives me crazy. I would hate to play. I'd love him if he was a net. I hate him because he's not a net. But that type of player is so inconsistent that I think they caught lightning in a bottle with him being good offensively and defensively this year. Derek White, I don't trust whatsoever. Like Peyton Pritchard, I don't trust whatsoever. Those guys played big in certain moments down the stretch, but overall they proved to be costly. Rob Williams is great when he's on the court. He's not healthy. Grant Williams made 8 threes against the Nets against the Bucks in the playoff game, then disappeared. Like so many little things broke right for them. And credit to I'm not taking anything away from the Celtics. I just think this was their chance to win a title. And it wouldn't shock me if they get back. Like Tatum and Brown are young enough and good enough to absolutely make it back. But if I'm a Boston fan, I'm really disappointed that we didn't come out with a title this year because this was a golden opportunity. This was a finals for the taking that they did not come up and grab. And I'm with you. It would kill me to see them win another one, Frank. I'm not too particularly worried. I don't think they're the cream of the crop in the East moving forward at all. And it wouldn't surprise me to see them take a pretty significant step back next year.
I mean, it did feel like they had a little team of destiny vibes, given how many unheralded guys just stepped up and had major, massive contributions. Like you mentioned, Grant Williams, Al Horford. Al Horford last season, I'm telling you, Mike, he must have spent months in Germany getting those like blood transfusions or whatever they do. Like Al Horford was done. He was finished. He had nothing left in the tank. And then he goes out there in this postseason and was one of the most effective players in the entire league. Like that came. Like I don't even remember hearing his name during the regular season. And he goes out there in the playoffs and was an absolute monster for the Celtics.
He was shutting down Kevin Durant on defense and hitting 8 threes in an NBA Finals game on offense. Like, and he's like 53 years old.
Yeah, I don't know where Al Horford came from. But like it feels like any team that does win the title in the NBA, like the Bucks last year got like a million breaks with the whole net series, and everything just seemed to break their way as well in their way as they won the title. So yeah, Tatum and Brown are still so talented. Jason Tatum gets a lot of criticism, fair or unfair, because of his inefficient poor shooting nights. I guess the missing thing, like if Jason Tatum's had a little bit like more of like a Jimmy Butler in him, a little more of a dog mentality, I feel like he could win multiple titles. But it seems like in the true biggest moments, Tatum just didn't deliver as a true star in this game does. Like Steph Curry, like when it mattered most, like that's when he rises to the occasion. And when it mattered most for the Bucks last year, Giannis like put the whole league, like the whole world on his back. I didn't really see that from Tatum. I wonder if he can get to that next level. That's the one thing I would like to see from him. And he's got the ability to do it. I mean, he's a freak athlete and an incredible basketball player.
Like 19 and a half years old. So he's got plenty of time to add that to his repertoire. But yeah, I agree. We saw last year Giannis in his first NBA Finals put the entire Milwaukee franchise on his back and say, we are not losing. I mean, he hurt his knee in the finals. And did he even miss a game? Did he miss one?
Maybe he missed one.
But came back with the hyperextended knee and put on some absolutely heroic performances down the stretch. Tatum did not reach that level when the Celtics needed him most, and maybe it's fatigue. They played 2 7-game series. He played 1 million minutes in the regular season, but he's also 19 and a half. I mean, that's when your legs are the freshest. And I don't think it's like a knock on him by any means. You look at, LeBron in his first finals, he wasn't able to reach that superstar level. Giannis, when he reached his first finals, had been in the league 7 years, not 4 like Tatum has, or 5, whatever it is. So, I mean, Tatum has elite top 5 potential. I mean, he's first team All NBA for a reason, well deserved. But he didn't play his best when the Celtics needed him to most, and that was the difference. And Jaylen Brown still can't dribble, and it's amazing that he scored 27 points a game without the ability to dribble. And if he ever learns to dribble, Frankel, that pick will be the one that haunts the Nets long term more than Jason Tatum.
All right, so we dodged the bullet with we dodged the bullet with the Celtics, but let's go bigger picture with the Warriors. They talked about this in the Bill Simmons podcast. For me, Mike, I mean, I never saw Magic Johnson play, and I know that he was an incredible, obviously one of the greatest basketball players of all time, and your all-time starting 5 is probably him, Jordan, LeBron, Kareem, and either Bill Russell, Will Chamberlain, something along those lines. But I don't know. I feel like in my all-time team, like, granted, like I said, I've never seen Magic Johnson play, but Steph Curry, like, he's got to be in major consideration to be the top one position player next to Jordan and LeBron, like, of all time. Like, he's that special. He completely, spearheaded this dynasty basically that we're seeing in Golden State, like single-handedly. Like, granted, Draymond and players were really, really solid players, but they're not. If this was Klay Thompson's team, there may be a fringe playoff team, and it's just Draymond Green's team. They're terrible. But Steph Curry's team, and Steph Curry's one of the greatest players ever, and to see what he's been able to do with this team, like man, he's. I mean, like I said, never saw Magic Johnson play, but he's right there in terms of my all-time starting point guard.
Yeah, when you rank like the top players of all time, it depends on what you look for, and everyone values certain aspects of someone's game more than others. I didn't see Magic either. Like, we're 28, 29 years old. Like, Magic was well before our time, but I still think just based on resume, he's still number one at the point guard position, but I think Steph's number two. And I think if you're building an all-time team, like if you were to create the greatest NBA starting five of all time, I think there's a case, or the greatest team, maybe not necessarily starting five, but the greatest five player. I mean, I think there is a real case for Steph Curry to be on that list just based on the fact that he completely changed the geometry of the basketball court.
Right.
Like, Magic's not great for Steph. Did I say that? Did I say Magic?
No. I was just thinking real quick. So like it'll be Steph, Jordan, LeBron, Magic, and then.
No, I don't think Magic's on that team.
Really, you don't?
Well, I think if you're putting Steph there, LeBron and Magic, their skill sets kind of overlap.
Okay.
I probably.
So who would it be? So what's your five?
I hadn't thought of it, but I think I would go. I think I would go Steph, Jordan, LeBron, Larry Bird, and a real set like Bill Russell or
Shaq or Kareem,
probably Kareem.
Or Wilt.
Well, yeah, I want to make sure I had a good rim. I'm not sure how great Kareem was at rim protection, but I take a defensive there because then you got the anchor down low. You can run pick and rolls with Jordan. You got two shooters in the corners. You got Steph spacing the floor for the pick and roll. LeBron is your point forward. Larry Bird was a great passing forward and a great shooter. I mean, that's pretty damn near impossible to stop. I just think Magic and Jordan, Magic and LeBron, as good as Magic was, LeBron is in that same skill set, and he just isn't the shooting. So the geometry, it changes how you play a little bit if you put Magic in there. And now in today's day and age, with the three-point shot being more important than ever, I would lean towards Steph if I was making my perfect basketball lineup, even if that means I still don't have him ahead of Magic in the all-time greatest player ranking list. But I do think, Frank, Magic has 5 titles. If Steph wins another one, which is totally in the realm, I mean, that's
because they're going to be better next year because they're going to get Wiseman back and Kuminga year 2.
Yeah, they could, and Klay Thompson, a full offseason of training. I mean, they're going to be better next year. I agree. If he gets to 5, I think there's a legitimate case that Steph Curry ends up being a top 5 player of all time. I really do, based on the statistics, based on the fact that he'll have the titles and the resume to back it up. And some people don't care about this. I do. He changed the way basketball's played.
Right. He's one of the most transcendent basketball players ever.
Yeah, and that, when you're comparing the most nitpicky things between the great, like I was watching Iron Chef today, Frank. You ever watch Iron Chef?
No.
Great show. Then there's a new series on Netflix, Creating the Iron Legend. It's like the best of the best. And when they're talking about when they nitpick these elite courses from these 5-star Michelin chefs, they have to critique something. And you're nitpicking the smallest of minute details. And when you're comparing the 5th and the 6th best players to ever play a sport ever, I mean, what you choose to value a little more than something, I mean, they're both great. It's not a slight on someone to say someone did something better, but Steph Curry changed the way basketball's played. And very, very, very few guys in the history of the NBA have changed the way the entire league plays. And I do think that matters more than some other generic statistics. Like, Steph has 1 Finals MVP. I think Magic has 4.
Wow.
And I think he may have 3, he may have 5. I think he has 4 though. If Steph wins another and it's 2 Finals MVPs and 5 trophies versus 4 Finals MVPs and 5 trophies, even though Steph should have 3 because the whole Iggy thing, but he also changed the way the game's played. Like, I kind of lean towards Steph in that. You know what I mean? So Steph changed the way it played, and if he wins one more, he's right in that conversation on that Mount Rushmore of the 5 best players ever. And as Bill Simmons mentioned on the podcast, he's the only guy in the top 20, I think, that's under 6'6", which makes it even more impressive what he's doing. So
I sent you the Glaber Torres play on Twitter. So why don't you pull that up and
keep talking. I'll pull it. I saw you DM me something. I didn't see what it was.
Yeah. So if I'm DMing you something during a podcast, it means it's probably pretty important because we got a lot of things going on.
I'm looking
so
at
while Mike's doing that,
live reaction. Hold on.
So, all right, well.
Here he is. Swing and a miss. Hicks walks away.
Right, it's like a 40-second video.
Glaber's down. Oh, he looks like he got shot.
Right, and when someone reacts like that, you think it's their Achilles.
Yeah, okay, right now, they show a replay?
They do.
Here's a replay. Oh, get up, Glaber.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying now. Yeah, I see what you're saying. He may have tried to oversell it. Where's my Zoom link? There we go. May have tried to oversell it a little bit, but
I mean, get back to the base, man. Get back to the base. Like, stop crying. You're an athlete. You're a professional baseball player. Get back to the base. What are you doing? All right.
Yeah. That's not an ideal look. Not an ideal
look.
Right.
Anyway, Mike, did you watch the NBA draft? Were you paying attention to it at all?
I did. Yeah, I watched the whole first round.
So, like, all I can think about as the Magic were contemplating who they were. By the way, real quick, yes or no question: did the Magic know they were taking Paolo Banchero the night after they won the draft lottery? Did they know they were taking Paolo that night?
No.
When do you think they made the decision?
Well, they didn't work him out, so it must have been before that.
Before what?
Whenever workout started. I bet you they did their initial scouting with no inside knowledge. I don't know anyone in the Magic organization. I bet you they got the number one pick. Their scouts and the GM watched the tape of the three guys who they thought they could have picked, and they put on the Paolo tape, whether that was first, second, or third, fell in love with him and said, that's it, we're taking him. We don't need to see anything else, we're taking him. So maybe not day one, but before the workout period was set. Because listen, you don't not work out a guy and take him if you're not 100% sure that's your guy. That is a complete smokescreen. That's a complete throw everyone off the scent. Like, hey,
why though? What's the motivation to be so serious? I can't. I'm like, obviously, the thing you're trying to increase value for someone or maybe make a trade, right? Is the only thing I can think about. Like, if you're trying to make the rest of the league believe that you're taking Jabari Smith and you're not allowing a team, or I mean, you're in control. You can sort of do whatever you want. So it's not like you're blocking another team from taking a player. You have the keys to the car.
I think it's a situation like Tatum and Fultz, where if a team was in love with Jabari Smith, and let's say it's the Rockets, who at 3 ended up getting Jabari Smith, and they were like, hey, we need Jabari Smith. We'll trade you 3 and a future first to move back, just like literally what happened with Boston and Philadelphia with the Fultz Tatum thing. We knew OKC was going to take Chet Holmgren no matter what. So I guess that's the only reason. And when they didn't pull the trigger, they were okay taking Paolo if he fell to 3. Then Orlando just takes their guy at 1. But you're right, with the number 1 pick, there's not a ton of reason to smoke screen unless you're hoping to get a trade offer up top.
Yeah, I didn't understand it, but all I could think about as it was happening was because we were like, we're following gambling at work, so that's what we're doing. We're following the odds to be their first overall pick. And at 7 p.m. Eastern time, Jabari Smith was minus 700 to be the first overall pick in the draft. Minus 700. And at 740, right after Woj put out that tweet, it like switched to Paolo Banchero minus 130 and Jabari Smith was like plus 400. And then a minute later, the odds were off the board. So all I could think about during this moment was, man, if you're Woj and let's say you get this information at 7:35 and you go to whatever, if you're in, I believe he works in Connecticut, or maybe he was at the draft, DraftKings or FanDuel in New York City, and you see Paolo Banchero plus 500 to be the first overall, and you put your whole $8 million salary on Paolo Banchero to be the first overall pick, and you send out the tweet, breaking news, Paolo Banchero expected to be taken first overall, and then boom, odd shift. Now instead of having $8 million, you have $40 million, and you're set for life. And
well, you're missing the biggest point here, Frank. The lines changed on Thursday morning when Woj tweeted out at like 9:15 the top 3 of the draft.
Right. So he, unless he made a massive bet, or I don't know. We're obviously not this.
But he tweeted out in the morning that it was
right.
Set.
Right.
And that's what changed the line. So
he changed
the lines twice.
So someone lied to him. Who was he taking information from?
I don't know, but you're right. Someone did lie to him, and
that's okay. Like someone could feed this information to Woj, and then because did he want to? I mean, what's the motivation for Woj to send that out when obviously it was never true, unless it was true. What, imagine that indecisive? I find that hard to believe.
So total speculation. I have no idea. My gut tells me.
For the record, Woj. I'd like to believe that Woj didn't actually bet on the first overall pick. It's just fun to speculate.
He's too much of a nerd. There's no way.
Because Because if let's say you're an NFL offensive coordinator and like the first play you're going to do is a running play, there are odds for run or pass play for every play on FanDuel. So you could hit up your best friend and be, hey, here's $600,000. I'm going to call a handoff on the first play of the game, and you'll get like $550K, and then you'll be good. Like these things are all like things that go through my head now because of all the ways you can sort of get around quote unquote insider trading for gambling. And sports gambling is finding any edge you can, and to have that information, it's a gold mine.
Yeah, and there has to be some sort of like safeguard against that. Like,
is there? I mean, like, I think listen. I don't know what the rules are. Obviously, in terms of stock trading, there is, and they can trace it back to who you know, who your relationships are, who you spoke to, who you texted with. In terms of gambling, I've never heard of something like that. Not that I could think of, but it's just crazy how powerful that information that Woj gets is in terms of the betting market, because he completely swung, because it went from Thursday morning it was Paolo,
the biggest swing in NBA history.
Like I don't know. I don't know. The Magic must have just lied to him and be like, yeah, we're taking. I mean, but why would they lie? I don't know. The whole I just can't.
I bet what happened. This is actually more to think about it. I bet you he got that information not from the Magic, but from the Rockets. From the Rockets, and the Rockets are like, they didn't work out Paolo. We're taking Jabari at 3. We know Chet's going 2. Paolo's got to be 1. Like, that's what it is. And he heard from probably
but with the Rockets, hang on. But if you're Woj, and the Rockets tell you this, you're like, yeah, whatever you say, Rockets. Oh, that's what's going to happen. You know exactly what the Magic are going to do number 1. I don't buy that for a second. That's crap. Wrong.
Listen, everyone thought Jabari Smith was going 1 until 7:40 when Woj tweeted that out. So,
to be fair,
telling people, a lot of different people, that they were going to take Jabari Smith. Like, it wasn't like Jabari Smith. It wasn't like Chet Holmgren was the first pick till 7:30 that morning, and then all of a sudden, oh shit, now it's Jabari Parker. Oh crap, at 8:40, it's like everyone
Jabari
thought
Smith.
It was Jabari. And also, I'm gonna call out
Jabari Smith.
I'm gonna call out Mike Smith and Jonathan Givony real quick. They changed their mock draft at 7:57 to Paolo.
Right. So we had right.
Yes, you cannot change your mock draft, which you put in months on, at the last second, because all of a sudden someone has better information than you. Stick to your guns and don't claim, oh yeah, we saw it. Like, no, your mock draft, your final 4.0 mock draft came out Thursday morning. That's supposed to be, and you can't update it at 3 minutes for the draft because the Magic pulled a hooey on everybody and claimed to be like, no, I actually was very upset with that.
Did they actually tweet out a whole new mock draft? I mean, it's not really a whole new mock draft. You're just changing 1 and 3.
If you go to the
archives, it's probably
website, it says updated at 7:57 p.m.
We did a hit at 7:00 Eastern, and everyone was like Jabari Smith consensus number 1, and then at 7:40 it was, and then we did the gambling segment at 7:15 on the number 1 overall pick, and everyone was like Jabari. There was not a single person who would even have thought to have speculated it could possibly be Paolo Banchero, and then Woj sends out the tweet and everything changed. Just wow, never seen anything like it. Where the first, I mean, the Anthony Bennett year was kind of up in the air, but I don't really remember like the moments leading up to it, but it was just really jarring, and I've really never seen anything like it. I will never see something like that again, but who knows? Anyway, I thought the biggest winner of the draft was the Detroit Pistons. I think that they got a foundation to be a really, really solid team here with Ivy, Duren, and Cunningham. Like those 3 guys, like Cunningham and Ivy are going to be electric in the backcourt for that team, and Duren's got a really solid interior presence. So they to me, they got a really good foundation. I'm still really skeptical about Chet. I know like he can, block some shots, I guess, and hit some jump shots, but I just feel like what the Celtics did to Durant in the playoffs, like if you do that to Chet, like I know he could like rise up, but if you're just physical with him, I feel like he's just gonna fold. He's so small.
I think you're getting Chet now with the hopes in 3-4 years he puts on 20-30 pounds, and he's not as twiggy as he was. But let's remember, Durant could have bench pressed 185 coming out of college.
Right? Did you see the Colin Cowherd clip that I tweeted out?
No.
That's literally like Colin's whole point was like Greg Oden like does everything, and Kevin Durant can't even bench press 185 pounds. Like it's not even a debate. You have to take Greg Oden. Greg Oden's going to be the transformational star. Kevin Durant is so skinny he can't bench press Like, how could you draft that guy? Like, that was his whole point. It was pretty.
It was a real debate, and Odom was the right pick.
It was the right
pick. It just didn't work out, but that was the right pick. Real quick, couple draft thoughts from me. I think
Paolo. Go ahead.
Sorry,
I agree. No.
Paolo was the best player in the draft. I think Jabari Smith is gonna be good, but like solid, not great. Chet, I have no clue. I don't love Ivy personally. I watched him enough in college. He was too hit or miss for me. He's a nice fit with Cunningham. But real quick, Jaden Ivey's mom is the head coach at Notre Dame. I don't know if you saw that. The head
women's basketball
coach at Notre Dame.
Huh.
He gave a shout out when he got drafted, saying my 3 basketball idols growing up were Arike Gumawale, Skylar Diggins-Smith, and Jewel Lloyd, 3 Notre Dame players who are now in the WNBA. And like, I like the W. I got a friend who's in the W, so I've kind of become a fan of it. It's just cool to see a guy who like is the 5th overall pick supporting and giving love back to the women who helped kind of formulate his basketball, because he didn't have to do that. You know what I mean? Like,
I had no idea. I didn't hear that. Why did I never heard that once.
His mom's the head coach at Notre Dame.
Why did no one talk about that? That's so weird.
He talked about it during his interview on the draft.
Right. I produced the draft for CBS Sports HQ. I didn't get to hear any of the interviews, but I didn't feel like that was common knowledge.
I didn't know it till the draft. I had no idea till they mentioned it on the draft, and then ironically, my friend works for the Wings where Enrique plays, and I sent it to her, and they were like, "Yeah, we got someone that works in this." So it's just cool that he gave appreciation to the people who helped mold his basketball career. And, you know, in an oddball case, it was 3 women who were badass ballers. And I thought that was pretty cool. Jalen Duran, have you seen him play? Like, have you actually seen him play?
Duran, I saw like some clips of him at Memphis. He wasn't like, I thought he'd be better than he was, but he's got a lot of athleticism, a lot of potential. I think I'm not saying he's going to be like this bona fide star, but I think Ivy and Cunningham, like that's a potentially great backcourt. That's all I'm saying.
The Pistons team, Ivy has the potential to be a stud. There's a fucking bug flying around.
Mike, come on. Language. Now we gotta say that.
We can curse on my TV show now, so now it's like I don't even think about not being able to curse. I apologize.
Now I gotta say it's not for kids because of you.
Stop it. No one cares.
And now our views are gonna go down. You're ruining everything.
My dad will not listen anymore. But they're the all potential team. Duran has 4 feet and 0 hands. The dude can't catch anything. And they kept saying on the broadcast, like, oh, think of all the alley-oops Cunningham and Ivy are going to throw to Duran on the pick and roll. And I'm just thinking, like,
I believe it's Duran. It's not Duran. Duran. It's Jalen Duran.
I apologize, Jalen. Please come on the show. We'd love to discuss. Feet and 0 hands. The dude can't catch. So that's going to be fun to watch. But I do think as a team that needed to develop and build like Detroit is,
all right, that will do it for this is the Lucas podcast.
How about you come to Cleveland?
Right, I'm going to Cleveland next week. We'll do a live podcast. It's going to be great.
Yes. What do you want to do while you're here, Frank? We're going to go to the Yankee game, Yankees Guardians.
Honestly, I'm not like. I mean, we got to go like maybe the ice cream place, but I don't really know. Mitchell's. I don't really know. I don't say I know I've been to Cleveland once in 2019, 3 years ago, like almost like to the day, and I know like the downtown area a little bit. I know the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I know the Brown Stadium. That's pretty much. I mean, and that's I don't really know too much about it aside from that. I know they have a great grilled cheese place in the Cleveland Guardian Stadium. I know there's one like in the suburb somewhere, but I'm not really too. I gotta do some research.
We'll talk. We'll have a full Cleveland review for you next week. I'm picking you up on Friday. I'm dropping you off. You leave Sunday, right? Sunday night.
Yeah, Sunday.
Beautiful. I can't wait. You'll get to see this view, Frank. Listen, for the people. For the people.
And there is the Cleveland Browns Stadium
right
where
that's your bed.
That is a Cleveland Browns Stadium where Deshaun Watson may or may not be a member of the team this season.
Suspension coming on Friday.
There's going to be a year-long suspension, it seems like.
My unofficial sourcing says they're probably going to give him an indefinite suspension and then they'll appeal.
That's so lame. Put a number to it. Screw the indefinite crap. If you want to make a statement, make a statement. Don't play the game with chicken.
Well, I think they're going to go with the indefinite and angle it for more than a year as these because there's still 4 cases that have to play out. So they're going to say, hey, based on what's already been settled, you get a year plus we can add on to it after we see how these 4 cases play out. The Players Association is going to appeal it. It's going to end up being 8
right. He's going to play this. He's probably going to play this year as the appeal process goes on, and then we'll see how.
He will listen. Draft him in the last round of your fantasy draft. Put him on your bench till week 9, and you'll have a top 5 quarterback for the last 10 weeks of the season in the playoffs. That's my advice to you. And Baker Mayfield will not play for the Browns this year. Confirmed.
If Deshaun Watson gets a year-long suspension, you don't think Baker Mayfield plays for the Browns this year? Then who? And if Baker Mayfield gets suspended, who's going to start?
The only people who think
they're just going to punt on the season, that's not happening.
Well, they signed Jacoby Brissett, who they say they're more than comfortable starting with. I mean, Baker didn't come to camp. Brissett was there. He's the guy that they are entrusting, and it wouldn't surprise me when they do trade Baker if they get back Drew Lock, Sam Darnold, Jimmy G, someone along those lines, and try to do the best they can with that. But they have to survive 8 games. I think they're looking at it as an 8-game. Brissett can give us 5 wins, 4 wins in 8 games, and then Watson takes us to the promised land. So there you go. We'll find out Friday. It's coming Friday. So unofficial sourcing, Friday.
That will do it for this. This is the Lucas podcast. We'll see you in Cleveland, Ohio. Let's go Yankees.